So throughout history, secret societies, ruling elites have sought power through hidden knowledge. We get this. Often drawn from ancient civilization and their gods. Today's wicked globalists, they're no different. They're deeply involved in reviving the occult practices of ancient Egypt, Babylon, and other pre-flood societies to resurrect the old gods. Entities such as Ra, Osiris, Horus, Seth, Nefertiti. Nefertiti? Did I say that right? She was a queen. Not a good one, but very well known. Egyptian. Through advanced technology, these figures were not just mere myths, but were worshipped. Divine rulers, looked at as superhuman entities with extraordinary abilities. And this isn't just myth. This is literally the Nephilim. And a lot of folks, if they don't believe in the fallen angels and the Nephilim, then this is really foreign and Greek to them, and they think it's BS. But this is truth. These Nephilim is what laid way for all of these different gods like Zeus and Thor, Horus and Osiris. Some of them even had animal heads and stuff like that. Like the Hindu god. They engineered these things because that's what the fallen angels did. But they used this technology to really bring forth these extraordinary abilities. So the modern day elites who believe they are the inheritors of this forbidden technology. They believe their bloodline is connected to it. And they very well could be correct for the way they think. Think about it. They are using these different advancements, especially through CERN and quantum mechanics, to reopen ancient portals and to bring back these spirits to serve in the Antichrist global kingdom. The key aspect is this sinister agenda using CERN. I don't really need to tell you guys too much because most of you understand fully what CERN is, the particle accelerator located in Switzerland. So they use this to tamper with interdimensional gateways. And CERN scientists have openly discussed their goal of finding and interacting with parallel dimensions. This is a true objective. They are looking to bridge between our world and a different realm. They have gone on the record saying this. I know many of you guys have seen a lot of this stuff, especially some of the stuff that Tom Horn has talked about. The Hadron Collider, which is in Europe, funny enough, it has the Shiva statue at its entrance, the Hindu god. And it's not by accident. They're telling us exactly what they're doing because it's hinting at that deeper purpose. That's the Hindu god of destruction, destroyer of worlds, because they are intentionally breaking the veil between dimensions to reawaken ancient spirits. But they can't do that yet unless they have an animation capsule first, a place for these spirits to go to, which they do now. So I've confirmed reports that CERN is reconstituting the consciousness of these long dead gods by pulling them back into our plane through quantum entanglement and particle acceleration. I know this sounds like a science fiction movie, but I promise you it is not. These old gods were worshipped in ancient civilizations because they were deeply involved in the Nephilim-related occultism. Book of Enoch talks about this deeply, the fallen angels, how they imparted advanced knowledge to mankind, leading to the corruption of the human race, the reason why the Lord flooded the planet. So these globalists, guided by these same dark spiritual forces and that bloodline that runs through their veins, they seek to reverse the flood's cleansing, effectively by reviving these ancient entities. They've had the means now for quite some time. They are finished with their experiments. By merging AI, genetic engineering, quantum technology, they aim, and have done it, to create vessels, hybrid bodies, artificial constructs for these resurrected spirits that they're bringing back through these dimensional portals. These vessels They will serve as the ultimate enforcer of the coming Antichrist system, controlling humanity beyond what we are able to comprehend. You know, the science, the technology, and the occult rituals are a crucial part of this process. These modern day elites participate in highly secretive ceremonies that mirror the ancient rituals and the rites of like Osiris, Baal, and underworld deities. These rituals, which involve just countless, just crazy sacrifices, chants, and symbolic reenactments of the resurrection, are performed to harness spiritual energy for their objectives. Do you guys remember the tunnel opening ceremony that they did? Did you guys remember the ceremony they did also for CERN? Some really, really creepy ceremonies that no one can make sense out of. But if you look at it in hindsight now, you understand exactly what they were doing during that Gotham Tunnel ceremonies. Think about it. You know, a lot of people are like, why do these elites want to do this? Why did Hitler do what he did? Why did Mussolini do what he did? Why did Nero Caesar do what he did? Why did King Antiochus do what he did? I bet you, if you trace bloodlines all the way back, you'll have your answer. I truly think if you want to segregate society into two bloodlines, you could put everybody on one or two sides and their bloodlines would confirm this theory. You know, think about it. Because the entire Old Testament Bible was a seed war. You had one or two bloodlines. You can see it today in Gaza. It's just, most just overcomplicate it. But these rituals are meant to harness spiritual energy for their objectives, guys. There is an infamous gathering that many of you will recognize. It's called the Bohemian Grove. Can't talk about it much because you guys know what it's about. You know how quickly they are to impugn on this. But just know there are world leaders who engage in things that happens there. Sacrifices. Lots of idol worship. And this is just a surface level, brief introduction to what they actually do, because their in-depth occult practices are wicked beyond imagination, folks. The reality is these ceremonies are designed to strengthen their connection between our world and the ancient powers that ruled in the days of Noah. It does. Anybody that has been on the other side that has dealt with, black magic, as I know we have folks in the chat that openly admit that they were on the wrong side for quite some time before they were woken up. They will tell you that these ceremonies, these rituals are very important. These ancient sites, such as the Great Pyramids, the Göbekli Tepe, and the ziggurats at Mesopotamia, they are key locations in the globalist agenda. These structures, which are built with advanced technology that defies all conventional history, are not merely historical relics. They serve as energy hubs, stargates, for summoning these ancient gods. Interesting they're talking about a Stargate program now, isn't it? Funny enough. I know for a fact that these secret projects are nearing completion or are done. They are using these sites to reactivate using their modern technology in conjunction with CERN's experiments. They're going to merge these spirits with their reanimated vessels that have been long dormant, waiting. Again, guys, I know this sounds wild, but this is reality. The final goal of this resurrection agenda is to usher in an area where these entities return. They're going to return as hybrids, a technological form that's going to serve the image of the beast. They will serve as enforcers, as this Antichrist reign. The Bible warns us in Revelation about the return of the demonic forces in the last days, with the beast system being empowered by satanic forces to deceive the nations. These ancient gods, as in the days of Noah, revealed by the wicked as superior beings. They are revered, guys. We know that they will be used as a part of the great deception to convince humanity that they are benevolent saviors rather than demonic oppressors. These people that I'm talking about, these beings, these vessels, are the same things that are flying around in the skies right now that the Pope is going to introduce as aliens. Make sure you make the connection, because many people won't. That great falling away will be those abandoning their faith, thinking that these aliens from far away are our benevolent Prometheus gods that created us. This is why the Lord has me talking about this, because so many people are going to fall for it, guys. I know it seems obvious to us and our small group here, but we are the extreme minority. You have to understand this. Folks need to understand the gravity of what is happening around them. It's happening before their very eyes. The deception will be so strong that they will worship them, believing they bring enlightenment and power, when in reality they are paving the way for the ultimate enslavement of mankind under the rule of the beast system. This globalist agenda to resurrect these old gods is not merely a conspiracy. It's not speculation. It is fact. It is a spiritual war playing out in real time, right below our very feet and in the skies above us. Through technology, occult rituals, hidden knowledge, the elites are preparing the world for a return to the days of Noah. We're literally seeing it play out. Matter of fact, I showed something last night during the news segment of a new biological humanoid that they were dangling, that they're getting ready to release into homes as male servants. They're planting the seeds every day. How often do you guys see the stuff that they're talking about, these aliens and how they've seen this and NASA's shown footage of this? It's all taking us somewhere. It's not by accident these things are being shown on the news on an increased amount. Guys, we have to stay rooted in God's word. The ultimate victory belongs to Christ. It is our job to expose what is going on, because God gets all the glory. CERN, you guys know that LHC is the most powerful particle accelerator currently in the world. Currently, we know they're working on bigger ones, but CERN's primary mission is to study subatomic particles, antimatter, and the fundamental forces of nature. However, that's just a front. Beneath its scientific objectives lies a deeper and more concerning reality. CERN is being used as that interdimensional stargate, a portal, a gateway to summon these spirits, these deities, these entities from the realms beyond our own. The scientists there are openly and willingly acknowledging that they're tampering with forces that they don't fully understand. They've admitted to opening ancient spiritual doorways to awaken supernatural beings. They've said that they have sent stuff through and received stuff back in return. These gateways have been sealed for thousands of years. Again, guys, reference that teaching at Mount Hermon if you missed it, because the LHC is located beneath the border of France, Switzerland. It's a 27-kilometer long superconducting magnet-designed particle accelerator that moves particles at nearly the speed of light. While the mainstream press will say that their primary purpose is understanding the origins of the universe, we all know for a fact that the scientists are not revealing the truth. We know they are tearing down the veil between dimensions. Physicists working there at LHC have openly admitted that their research involves attempting to open new dimensions. In 2009, think about how long ago that was, 15, 16 years, Sergio Bertolucci went on the record making a chilling statement. I've seen this several times, saying that the LHC is creating a doorway to another dimension, and that this door is sending something through, and they are sending stuff back to it. This is a bold admission should be raising alarm bells. This was 15, 16 years ago he said this. How much do you think has advanced in 15, 16 years? It directly aligns with biblical warnings about entities locked away in other realms. Revelation 9 speaks of a time when the abyss will be opened, releasing demonic entities upon the earth. God didn't say how it would be opened, just that it would. A scenario eerily similar to what CERN is doing with their high energy particle collisions. My biggest issue is that the land that CERN sits over top of, they built it over top of where it sits for a very specific reason. It's built on top of the ancient temple of Apollyon, Abaddon in Hebrew, the destroyer. It's talked about in Revelations 9:11 again. Revelations 9 tells us this region that we were awaiting on Apollyon from the abyss. Revelations talks about it. And this complex is built on top of the temple for Apollyon, Abaddon, the destroyer. I mean, it couldn't be more in our face. This region was known for Saint Genius Palili, which derives from the Latin Apollyon, meaning a place dedicated to the worship of Apollyon. We know that CERN was intentionally built upon this ancient spiritual gateway so that they could reopen it because it was sealed a long time ago. These experiments are just disguised as scientific nature, but the reality of it is it's a modern form of high-tech sorcery designed to shatter the barriers protecting our world. And throughout history, there have been numerous myths and legends and scriptures that speak of ancient gods and spirits being locked away in other realms, just awaiting the right conditions to return. Many of these figures, including Osiris, Shiva, Baal, fallen angels, that have all been sealed and bound in hidden dimensions and under the ground. We know for a fact that CERN's particle collisions are key to unlocking these ancient entities. Yes, some of them may be released because the angel of the Lord is instructed to, but don't think they're not going to be tampering with it for other reasons. I know for a fact that CERN is not just a scientific endeavor, but a ritualistic one. LHC itself, if you look at it from a bird's eye view, from like a satellite photo, it is a massive circular portal, reminiscent of the rings depicted in ancient Stargate mythology. The discovery of the God particle Higgs boson in 2012 coincides eerily with the occult teachings about the return of divine forces. Funny enough, we had crazy things happening in 2012, and since then we've been having Mandela effects and stuff that we can't make sense out of. CERN's experiments are reverse engineering. What they do is their knowledge of the ancient gods, they are bringing them back through, reconnecting humanity with the time when supernatural demigods ruled openly over the earth. Even more alarming is CERN's research is tied to the prophesied return of the Nephilim, the high-spread offspring, talked about in Genesis 6. These portals are literally being opened so these ancient spirits can manifest physically again into these vessels that are in these status re-engineering pods. It's all tied to the great deception warned about 2 Thessalonians, where the world will be deceived by supernatural signs and wonders. You know, if you look at that statue again, Shiva, Shiva has a dance which represents the destruction of the old world and the birth of a new one, aligning perfectly with CERN's experiments and what happened in 2012. There's a reason why Shiva was put out front. There's a reason the Mandela effect is happening so often now. For those of you who are having deja vu on a regular basis, there's a reason for that too. CERN is breaking apart the fabric of reality in an attempt to unlock other secrets of creation. The connections become even more chilling when one considers these ancient cultures associated with the destruction and release of imprisoned entities are paralleled with the biblical abyss. We all know what CERN's about. I don't need to go into any more detail. We see the 666, the number of the beast on their logo. Well, you know, everybody just spins it off as it's just a coincidence. You know, CERN persists itself as a scientific institution. We know what they're doing. Just look at their location, their objective, their symbolism. You know, it almost looks as CERN as a modern Tower of Babel, a hubris-driven project attempting to ascend into the heavens. You know, what it's going to do is lead to divine judgment is what it's going to do. But in the meantime, it's possibly the mechanism that Revelations warns about from bringing demonic entities into our world during the final days. Guys, we got to remain vigilant. Deception and manipulation is happening all around us, and they're guising it and disguising it as science and climate change. So many people are buying into this stuff. We're literally seeing Bible prophecy happen right before our very eyes and under our feet, and no one is paying attention. You know, throughout history, the gods and rulers of ancient Egypt have been revered, feared, and even worshipped by secret societies, occultists, and globalist elites because they love those Osiris and Horus and Seth. They love the emmatic figures because it's all a part of appearing esocentric. You see it in the Freemason rituals, the modern-day transhumanist agendas. Their roles are not just mythological, words are hard, but part of a prophetic deception, all part of the Antichrist reign. We know that they are bringing back these entities, these spirits, through manipulation, occult rituals. It's all about the false light of Lucifer. Think about it. Ra was the supreme god of Egypt, often depicted as a falcon-headed deity with a solar disk, encircled by a servant. This is all Luciferian. This is all tied to Lucifer. It's all tied to the fallen angels and their genetic experiments. You see it in the Illuminati, the Freemasons, all the other occult sects, the all-seeing eye. It's on the dollar bill. The Masonic lodges. It's not the true wisdom of our God. It's the deceptive enlightenment of the adversary. We know that the end time and the Antichrist is prophesied to bring false illumination, a deceptive light that leads the world astray. Guys, we see the writing on the wall with CERN, AI, technology, and all the other shenanigans they got going on below our feet. We know the New World Order is pushing for this global unity under this false light. Osiris, no different, the god of the underworld. He's the prototype of the Antichrist. He is the prototype, guys. In secret societies, Osiris is worshipped as they sacrifice a risen king, a concept that mirrors how the Antichrist will receive a deadly headwind and be healed. Talks about it in Revelation 13:3. These elites are actively working to revive the DNA of these ancient rulers. We know that they are. And as I've already mentioned several times, they're using CERN, these portals, AI-driven consciousness transfer, and the fallen angel science to merge these spirits with these vessels, these reanimated bodies. The DNA, you know, when they were in Iraq, saying they were there for war and oil, most people bought into that lie. We know why they were in Iraq. You know, I've seen reports and facts on the Egyptian Book of the Dead being used. Not sure if you guys are aware of this text. It's the blueprints for reviving Osiris through technology. It involves CERN, the Vatican, telescopes in the middle of our country that can monitor things from far away. Guys, it's written on the wall. They are using this Book of the Dead for something more than just entertainment. We're getting ready to see some serious things play out. You know, I hope that we get a little bit of grace for us to bring more to Christ and to wake more folks up. Because so many are not ready. How many do you think are blind? If you had to name a percentage of the world's population that was blind to what is going on, I'd say that 97% of the world has no clue. You know, these elites that we're talking about, I'm pretty sure their bloodlines all connected to these ancient rulers carrying out the genetic material in a modern world. This is why these secret societies do everything. This is why they sunk the Titanic. This is why they did the Federal Reserve in 1913. This is why the New World Order grew. This is why there was two world wars, World War I, World War II. This is why Hitler attempted to exterminate. 1948 was the founding of Israel in a single day. Everything that's happened in the last century all plays into it. And the very first event that kicked everything off into play was that sinking of the Titanic. That was the mother of all events. It's what steered history on the course that it's on. But we know that was just meant to be. We don't have to get into that ruse. And as we approach these final days, we know that ancient deities are being revived and worshipped and weaponized. Now there's more that plays into this, because the Bible goes into detail again about a period of supernatural darkness. A lot of people used to think that this is a Catholic prophecy, but it's not. It's not. I've already done a teaching on it, so I'm not going to get into it again. But think about the days of darkness during Egypt. There was a supernatural darkness. A time when forces of evil were literally on the verge. They saw a watered-down version during the plagues of Egypt. The children, God's children, the Israelites, they were protected. They were not in the dark. But we're going to see a replay of this, just like we do in history. Revelations talks about this darkness as well, where there's going to be a time of evil that's going to be unleashed. And the evil that's going to be unleashed in the darkness, if you do not have your feet firmly planted with Christ, where you are protected in your home through that grace of the Lord, the Holy Spirit, through that divine communion that you have with Him each and every day, this will be a bad time to be here. This ominous event, this 3 days of darkness, it's going to be apocalyptic in those 3 days. Folks are not going to know what hit them. It's going to be a spiritual darkness, just not a time of no light. The world will be plunged into a very unnatural, sentient darkness, demonic state of entities roaming the earth. All of these reanimations that I'm talking about, they are holding them for this event. I know this. They're going to unleash them whenever this event happens. The very foundation of human existence is going to be shaken if you do not have your feet firmly planted with Christ. This is why I talk about this so much. While many have focused on the effects of this event on mankind, few have considered the true purpose behind it. Why does God allow this to happen? Think about it. There's a global reset that will not only cleanse the earth, but also serve as a perfect moment of activation of ancient entities. Long hidden, waiting to go for their appointed time. This very moment when the old gods, you name it, Osiris, Horus, Seth, all of those wicked things, they're going to be brought out of stasis, revived through dark rituals, technology. They're going to be set loose upon this world. It will not be a day you will want to not have your feet firmly planted with Christ. I know that most everyone in this chat, this does not apply to them. But if you know someone that's lukewarm or doesn't have a relationship with the Lord yet, or you're a baby Christian, please make sure that you are in the Bible each and every day. That is not worth the gamble, guys. The awakening from this stasis, the 3 days of darkness, is the trigger. These ancient cultures speak of these gods, these demigods. We don't need to get into all that again, but the Egyptians, the Babylonians, the Greeks, All these indigenous traditions all hold the same concept of sleeping gods. Did you guys know that? In the Book of the Dead, all their ancient texts, doesn't matter what religion you go to, they talk about sleeping gods, entities that have been placed in status, waiting for a time of great chaos to reemerge. These occult traditions. Darkness is the ideal environment for rituals that summon entities from other dimensions. This is why the satanic and messianic rituals are often conducted in pitch black darkness, because the veil between dimensions is thinnest in complete darkness. The 3 days of darkness is just not a natural event. It's a controlled event. It's planned. It's highly orchestrated ritual on a global scale. It's designed to kick off the main event of these ancient entities using the power of CERN, hidden occult knowledge, mass blood sacrifices, reanimated DNA. The Book of Revelations hints at this stuff. When it speaks as a star falling from heaven and opening the abyss, releasing a dark smoke that blasts out of the sun and unleashes demonic beings upon the earth. Sounds like it's describing 3 days of darkness, which entities that have been sealed away in another dimension are placed in a physical stasis, finally released. Fallen angels that are possibly bound to the Euphrates. These entities are indeed these ancient gods of Egypt, Babylon, and other pre-flood civilizations, because that's what the Nephilim are. These gods weren't real gods. They were just demigods. They were the Nephilim, these fallen angel genetic creations and offspring of having sex with the women. Their awakening during this period of darkness aligns perfectly with Bible prophecy, unfolding part of the end times deception. These revived ancient gods are meant to rule this new kingdom of the Antichrist, because it is my understanding that once this 3 days of darkness happens, it is the kickoff. And once the sun comes up, it's a different world. It is officially the Antichrist kingdom, and he is brought forth. And it's going to require him to have an army. But this army won't be of just human soldiers. There's scriptures and extra biblical texts that say the final battle on earth will not be fought with conventional forces, but with entities that defy human nature. The Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees describe how the fallen angels have made their offspring and created different offsprings, Nephilims and giants and soulless beings with immense strength and supernatural abilities. Guys, it's all in the text. It just needs to be pieced together. The modern advancements in genetics and artificial intelligence and cloning, they have been reconstructing these beings for quite some time. I've read classified military projects and listened to whistleblower testimonies that have already told me these things. These super soldier programs, we talked about it in the Mount Hermon episode, gene splicing, DNA tampering, ancient beings being extracted from Egyptian mummies and other relics like they did in Iraq. This is no longer an effort. It's already happened. It's a modern attempt to resurrect the Nephilim. They want those pre-flood rulers back. There's a lot of things that hint toward a time of darkness. Exodus 10, 21, 23, the plagues of darkness. There was a time of judgment against Egypt, plunging the land into darkness while God's people were spared. This was a foreshadowing of the end times. Those who walk with God will have light in their dwelling, while the rest of the world will be consumed by supernatural darkness. In Joel 2:2, a day of darkness and gloomness. Joel described a great and terrible day of the Lord, a time of darkness and supernatural chaos, where mighty warriors will descend upon the earth, a reference to revived ones in their hybrid army. Revelations 9, 1, 11, we already talked about the bottomless pit being open. The prophecies that have been talked about in Catholic texts. I don't give these as much weight, but you still can't not include them because they start to make sense when you piece this all together. The Catholic mystics and their foretold global darkness in the last 3 days. Demonic entities that will roam the earth. Book of Enoch describes the fallen angels were sealed away in darkness until the appointed time. being released during a time of darkness. And the Testament of Solomon speaks of an ancient spirits, gods bound in the underworld awaiting their time to return. These entities that are bound but not destroyed, they're reawakening or waiting for the moment of the days of darkness. It's a perfect storm for a supernatural activation. During this time, those who walk with Christ, guys, you need to be ready, fully prepared. This is why I tell you every day you got to be in the scriptures. I don't say it just because it's cool. That's not why. I just repeat what I'm told. And all I keep hearing is to keep telling you guys this. I'm just going to keep telling you until he stops saying it. This is going to be an interesting time period. Guys, it is so critical that you have your relationship with Christ on point. The division of light and darkness is not going to be just physical. It's going to be spiritual. There's going to be literal forces of hell unleashed. Only those covered by the blood of Christ will be spared. This is why Jesus warned in Matthew 24:13, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. You know, we see it. Do you guys not see it? The links between stargates, advanced technology, the Egyptians possessing new levels of technology, the pyramids, celestial bodies, encoded advanced mathematics, ancient texts, hieroglyphics, all saying the same thing. Rituals, performing opening stargates, summoning deities, the Book of the Dead, the pyramids text alone. All these ancient sites perfectly line up with key lines, global energy grids that appeared to have been used for channeling supernatural power at one time or another. This is not all by coincidence, guys. This is all fallen angel tech lined up for a very specific reason. Spiritual knowledge, technology blueprints, all focused on the manipulation of the fabric of reality itself. The modern world is unknowingly being guided back to an ancient paradigm where God's rule over humanity, not the good God. I said gods, the demigods. The globalist elite, under the guise of these scientific endeavors, they are literally doing it. These AI systems is going to be highly integrated into everything. It's going to be a digital embodiment of ancient fallen spirits in several of these hosts. We see it in the Vatican, DARPA, all these different globalist institutions. They're all heavily invested in AI. In parallel, that DNA resurrection is complete. It's a reconstruction event of the genome, synthetic beings and artificial wombs. It's not science fiction. They're using CRISPR, gene editing, and DNA synthesis to put these things back together. Nephilim hybrid kings, re-erected ancient rulers. We all know they've extracted their DNA. We've talked about it. We see what is coming, guys. Now is the time to put on the full armor of God. The only way you will be able to discern these times and be prepared spiritually for what is coming is those who are covered by the blood of Christ and are locked and loaded with what you need in the scriptures. Only those who stay steadfast in their faith, refusing to bow to the stuff of this world. If you feel more alien every day from what's going on around you, that's a good sign. Stay out of the secular music. Stay out of the secular TV. Stay away from the secular news. Be careful who you listen to as far as teachings. I need to have all the fruit of the Spirit. Most importantly, be in the Bible every day. No excuses. The victory belongs to Christ alone. We know this. You have to have unwavering faith and truth in the gospel because the time is at hand.